massive edition of the Ballarat Football Netball League Senior Footy Show. Thanks to our friends McDonald's. I'm joined by Tara Murray from the Star Weekly. Certainly been an exciting build-up to what is going to be a big round of footy.
It is. There's some pretty interesting matches this week. Obviously, there's not much between 3rd and 8th at the moment, so every match is vital for those teams looking to make finals. And we've got a few rivalries this weekend and a few ones that, obviously, the first time round these teams played produced some pretty close matches. So we'll be sort of hoping that we can see the same again.
Let's talk about the biggest, one of the big games we're going to look at, and it's Darley and Bacchus Smash.
Look, this is a big game. Anytime, any year, one of the biggest rivalries in the competition, let alone when these two sides are up and firing. There was nothing between the two teams in round one after they both played off in the grand final last year. So, look, they've probably had very, very different seasons after. Darley got the win in round one, but it's been Bacchus Marsh that's flourished since then. The Cobras are sitting on top of the ladder. I think they've dropped a couple, which they'll be disappointed, but the matches they've dropped, they've been in the games. They haven't been, it's not like they've been beaten. They could have won those ones. But your Devils have been inconsistent they've had a number of injuries, had a number of unavailabilities, and they've just struggled to get that consistency. Yeah,
well, it is interesting with the Cobras. They've dropped 2 games this year and for a total aggregate of 2 points. So They could easily be very undefeated, and they've come a long way since that game against Darley back in round one. They were 31 points up heading into time on that third term, and Darley come away and won the game. So both sides have gone different paths since then.
Exactly, and look, and the Cobras still have their periods of time where they do have lapses for a quarter here and there. Obviously, you mentioned that they did that in round one. They did it a little bit against the Sunbury Lions, saying that the Sunbury Lions had nothing to lose in that final quarter, but the Cobras were able to hold on. But they're the most probably dominant team in the competition. They've got a number of options up forward, a number of players through the midfield. They're dominating in the ruck, and then they've got their key defenders down back. So it'd be hard to see the Devils get up and beat them. But being a rivalry, you never know. It's one of those matches that could go either way.
I think Jake Owen, his form at the moment has just been remarkable. I think he alone will ensure that the Cobras take some beating.
Look, I think the Cobras will get the win. I saw them a couple of weeks ago and they can play some really good football. And that the Devils, look, they'll be looking to get the win. They lose this week, they could quite easily fall outside the top 6.
Such as the closest to the competition. Make sure you jump on listen to either 97.9 or 98.5 FM of the Grand. You've got plenty of great choices over there to listen to this great game. Ballarat and Lake Windaree.
Look, this is obviously another one. You've got Lake Windaree, who's coming off 2 wins in a trot, 3 out of their last 4, and they come from a side that was towards the bottom of the ladder, and now they're in that mix for a top 6 position. Ballarat is one of those teams who's probably out of finals contention at this stage.
Correct.
You've got your top 8, and Ballarat's down there with them. So for them to get a win and knock off Lake Windaree, Ballarat can sort of shape this final series. If they can get a few wins against these sides looking to play finals, it could be quite interesting there. I think Lake Windaree sort of found their groove and found their form. They've knocked off, obviously, 2 good sides in the last 2 weeks in Bacchus Marsh and Sunbury Lions, and I think they'll make it 3 in a row.
They can build some momentum here. There's no reason why they can't make the top 3.
Look, it is. I think that at the moment that 3rd position's up for grabs. The top 2 is pretty settled.
2 games separated, second
exactly.
and third.
So it would take either East Point or Bacchus Marsh to lose a few games in a row to do that. But yeah, definitely that 3rd spot's on the line with nothing between 3rd and 8th. I think there's 1 game between them. So there's definitely the opportunity to have a top 3 spot. And they're beating the top sides. So as long, they now just have to make sure they're beating the bottom sides as well.
Sunbury Lions and Melton South. Needless to say, the Lions need a massive win here.
They do, and they're playing at home, and they haven't lost a game this year at home. So it is a massive one for the Lions. They have been a little bit more inconsistent the last few weeks. Last time these two teams played, the Sunbury Lions got the win. But for a lot of that game, especially the second quarter, the Panthers looked the better side, and if not for poor goal kicking, could have quite easily been a lot further ahead at half-time. I was at that game and obviously saw that one. But look, I think the Lions are a better side. I'm expecting Melton South to bounce back from the performance they had last week. They were quite disappointed against Redan, and they would have, after getting their first win of the season, to actually drop a game in that manner would have been disappointing. Would have given them a chance to get 2 wins in a row and build a bit of momentum. But obviously now they're back in that battle for the wooden spoon. But I think Sunbury will be too strong, especially at home.
I think it's hard for South though, because they are facing a Sunbury Lions team that we're disappointed about the one that got away on the weekend. So the way they sort of bounce back will be of great interest.
Yeah, definitely. I think both sides will be looking to bounce back, but I'm expecting, yes, Sunbury will be too strong.
Melton and Redan have often shared quite an intense rivalry over the years, and this one is going to be a big contest. Usually it was Redan going with a fair bit of form and confidence. Now it's Melton that's the hunted, but Redan on the back of that big win on the weekend, there's certainly a chance here.
Well, you go, Melton is the hunted, but they both won their last matches, but Melton hadn't been great before that. So Melton obviously sitting 7th.
More to play for.
Yeah, exactly, more to play for. They will go into this match as favourites, and these are the games they have to win if they are to finally break that finals drought. They've been around the mix the last couple of years, but unable to get into that top 6. So they need to be beating these sides that are below them on the ladder. They do have a run of matches against these sides, so this is a key for Melton to get this win to get back in that top 6 and keep the pressure on.
It is interesting though that Redan, they've got that first win on the board. They've been so close in so many games previously, but now just having that psychological advantage of winning a game, it's almost like, well, there's no reason why they can't beat these teams now.
Look, and there's nothing to lose for Redan, and that's it. They can go into these sides looking to beat teams and knock off teams. As like I said, Ballarat can shape the final series. Redan's another one, and they're a team you can't take easy. Everyone's sort of known what Redan's been the last few years. They've still got a number of those players in the side, so a team not to take easy.
Yeah, exactly right. The final game, it was only a couple of weeks ago where these two teams did play, was North Ballarat City and East Point. The City losing 3 of their last 4 games. This is where the rot sort of started to a degree, where they were in the game at 3/4 time against East Point a few weeks back, and ended up getting rolled in that final term by about 3, 4 or 5 goals. And since then, their confidence has just ebbed and flowed a bit.
Well, despite those results, it's still 2nd and 3rd on the ladder.
Yeah, so it's frightening. It's still the case.
It's still 2nd, 3rd. We obviously talk up the Darley Bacchus Marsh game, but this one could be just as important, just as close, obviously being 2 of your top 3 sides. East Point obviously had a slip up a couple of weeks ago, but they are showing they are in some good form. And you look, North Ballarat has been a little bit up and down. They lost to Melton on the weekend, so they were in front in the last quarter but couldn't get the job done. So it's whether or not they can get that finish in and get over the line. I think East Point will be too strong. They have shown, obviously, they're one of the 2 dominant teams in the competition, and there's no reason not to tip them.
It's great seeing these sides go head to head because they are the most, well, it's an exaggeration. I would like to say they are the most improved sides of the competition. But then I look at how Sabas are going, and they're in the finals calculation. They're only in the top 6 last week. But I like these two teams. They've come out. They've dominated the top 3 for a lot of the year, and the 2 teams that East Point didn't make finals. They just missed out on finals to North Ballarat City, who went out in the first week of the finals last year. So to see where they are, to sit in the top 3, I think is massive.
It is, and obviously it'll be interesting. If North Ballarat City lose this week, they could quite easily be outside the top 6. So we'll see whether that first few weeks was sort of them showing, yep, this is where we're really at, but now they might be sort of settling into where they fit in the competition and where they are against these other sides. Look, I think it'll be a quite interesting match, but I think East Point will win.
Yeah, I'm just going to hope for a good game. I think City could still be a chance, but I think it's just going to be a great game for anyone that gets along there and watches this great, exciting action. It's all thanks to our friends at McDonald's for showing their support. We're joined by Tara from the Star Weekly. What sort of stories have we seen sort of filter through the Star Weekly this week on the Ballarat?
Obviously, yep, did a story on Melton, speaking with Aaron Timms about them getting their first win, and also spoke with Nelson South netball coach Alan Watson. So the Panthers there, I think they're 6 to 8 points outside the top 6 now, and they're starting to get a few wins on the board. So I spoke with Alan about his young side. They're pretty excited out there. They've got T. Salanona, who is their key goaler who hasn't played all season, finally took to the court on the weekend, so that's a big boost for them. So yeah, they're probably the couple of Ballarat ones we had last week.
Check it out on the Star Weekly website. It is compulsory reading. Thanks so much for jumping on board this week, and we'll catch up with you later on.
Thanks for having me.